Imagine walking through endless red fields that shimmer like rubies under the autumn sun. The air smells crisp, the ground squishes softly beneath your boots, and as far as the eye can see, thousands of tiny berries bob and swirl on the surface of a flooded bog. This isn't a scene from a fantasy movie, it's the heart of cranberry harvest season, one of America's most breathtaking agricultural traditions. These little tangy gems may seem simple, but their journey from vine to Thanksgiving sauce is nothing short of mesmerizing. Cranberries are not your typical fruit. Try biting into one fresh off the vine and your taste buds will jolt awake from the tartness. That's why almost no one eats them raw. Instead, we enjoy them as sauces, juices, and dried snacks, all of which begin their lives in these sprawling bogs meticulously maintained by farmers who know that patience pays off. Before a single vine takes root, growers must prepare the land to perfection, leveling the surface, managing drainage, and ensuring that the soil has just the right sand and organic mix to nurture the delicate plants. Instead of growing from seeds, which can take years to bear fruit, new vines are cut from mature plants, bundled, and carefully spread across the fields like green carpets waiting to take hold. It's a long game. The vines slowly weave through the soil, sending out roots and runners that knit together into a dense mat. For the first 3 years, farmers tend to them, irrigating, pruning, and protecting against pests and frost, all for that first full harvest that will finally reward their patience. Once the plants mature, they can keep producing berries for decades, turning the bog into a self-sustaining fruit factory powered by nature. When summer fades and fall approaches, the white blossoms that once dotted the fields have transformed into deep red berries ready for harvest. Each berry contains tiny air pockets that make them naturally buoyant, a built-in trick of evolution that turns harvesting into something spectacular. When the timing is right, farmers flood the bogs with water, turning them into massive shallow lakes. Special water pumps and floodgates allow them to control the level perfectly. As the water rises, the berries float to the surface, creating an endless red ocean. Mechanical harvesters move through the flooded fields, gently dislodging berries from the vines. The floating cranberries are then corralled together with giant floating booms, forming massive clusters that look like a painter's palette of scarlet hues. It's not just beautiful, it's practical. Water harvesting keeps the berries from bruising and makes collection far more efficient. Once gathered, powerful pumps act like giant vacuums, slurping up thousands of berries per minute and transferring them into waiting trucks. But before those trucks hit the road, the berries are given a quick rinse right there on the farm to remove mud and debris. After their journey from the fields, the cranberries arrive at processing facilities where they'll go through a detailed cleaning, sorting, and quality checking process. The freshly harvested fruit passes through rollers fitted with fine mesh screens that separate out twigs, leaves, and stones. The berries are then sorted by size and density. Advanced air jets and conveyor systems ensure that only the plumpest, most vibrant cranberries move forward for packaging or processing. There's even an old-school test that still holds true today, the bounce test. Fresh, firm cranberries will literally bounce when dropped on a hard surface, while the softer or overripe ones roll away. This quirky but effective method has been part of cranberry culture for generations, symbolizing how tradition meets technology in modern agriculture. The top-quality cranberries are quickly chilled to lock in their freshness, flavor, and color. Some are packed immediately into breathable plastic clamshell boxes for grocery store shelves, while others are sent in bulk cartons to large food producers and juice companies. Inside cranberry sauce factories, the transformation takes on an almost magical rhythm. Industrial kettles the size of small swimming pools bubble with a mix of cranberries, sugar, and water. As the berries heat up, they pop open one by one, releasing natural pectin that thickens the sauce. The tartness mellows, the color deepens into a glossy crimson, and that familiar aroma of sweet and tangy perfection fills the air. This is the flavor of American holidays, of Thanksgiving tables and family gatherings, born from the dedication of farmers and the chemistry of nature. But behind that sweetness lies another story, one of another key ingredient that makes the sauce and countless other foods possible: sugar. While cranberries represent patience and precision, sugar is all about transformation on a massive scale. Most people imagine sugarcane swaying under the tropical sun, but here in the US and across parts of Europe, a more humble crop fuels the industry: the sugar beet. Unlike the tall canes of the tropics, sugar beets grow quietly underground, storing sweetness in their roots. Before farmers can even think about planting, they have to prepare their fields with meticulous care. The soil must be soft, rich, and loamy, capable of holding just enough moisture to keep the beets thriving. Too much clay and the roots can't expand, too sandy and the nutrients wash away. Farmers use precision equipment to test and balance the soil before planting. Once the seeds go in, it's a waiting game of watering, fertilizing, and monitoring. Sugar beets are thirsty plants, often needing 20 to 30 inches of water through the growing season. As they mature, sunlight and photosynthesis work their quiet magic, converting energy into sugar stored deep within each root. By late autumn, the beets have reached their peak sugar content, and it's time for harvest. Specialized machines lift the beets from the soil, shake off the dirt, and load them into towering piles that look like mountains of pale pink and white. Each ton of these beets holds about 300 pounds of pure sugar waiting to be extracted. When trucks arrive at the factory, they're weighed, recorded, and sent to the cleaning area. High-pressure water jets blast away every trace of soil until the beets emerge spotless and ready for slicing. Inside the plant, enormous steel graters shred the beets into thin strips called cassettes. These thin slices make it easier to extract the sugar locked inside. The process is similar to brewing tea. The shredded beets are soaked in hot water, allowing the sucrose to dissolve and create a sweet, earthy juice. What's left behind, the beet pulp, gets repurposed into animal feed, ensuring nothing goes to waste. The juice then travels through a series of clarifiers and filters that remove impurities. As it's boiled, water evaporates, and the liquid thickens into a golden syrup rich with sugar. This syrup is further refined through crystallization, where it's cooled under controlled conditions to form the pure white crystals we know as table sugar. Those perfect grains are then spun in centrifuges, dried, and packaged for everything from home kitchens to industrial bakeries. Every spoonful of sugar in your coffee or dessert likely took months of growing, careful extraction, and refinement before it reached your table. And while some critics see sugar as a health villain, its production is a marvel of agricultural engineering. Every step, from soil to syrup, is carefully managed to ensure safety, hygiene, and sustainability. The water used in beet processing is recycled multiple times, reducing waste and maintaining clean production standards. Farmers and scientists continually work together to improve yields, reduce water consumption, and create more sustainable farming methods that balance our demand for sweetness with respect for the planet. When you think about it, cranberries and sugar beets share a common story. Both thrive only under precise conditions. Both depend on the patient hands of farmers who understand the rhythm of nature. And both come together in your kitchen, perhaps in the same dish, blending tart and sweet into something timeless. Every time you open a jar of cranberry sauce or sweeten your drink with sugar, you're tasting the result of seasons of labor, decades of farming innovation, and centuries of tradition. Have you ever wondered how something as simple as sugar or a humble banana transforms into the sweet treats and crunchy snacks we can't stop eating? From the glittering crystals of sugar that sweeten your morning coffee to the golden banana chips that crunch between your teeth, the journey of these everyday delights is nothing short of mesmerizing. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of sugar refining, cream-filled bread, caramelized nuts, and banana chip production. A journey that takes us from lush farms to high-tech factories, blending tradition, science, and pure indulgence in every bite. When sugar crystals spin in giant centrifuges, it's almost like watching a magic trick. These industrial machines, which operate much like washing machines, separate the solid sugar from the dark, syrupy molasses. As the centrifuge whirls, the mixture of sugar crystals and syrup dances around at high speed, until the pure white sugar emerges, glistening like snow. This is the final stage of refining, where raw sugar becomes the sweet, familiar ingredient we use in countless desserts and drinks. But beyond its irresistible sweetness lies a more complex story, one about health, habits, and changing global attitudes. Over the years, rising concerns about obesity and diabetes have reshaped the way we view sugar. Governments around the world have introduced sugar taxes, and health-conscious consumers are turning toward organic, unrefined options. Yet, despite the controversy, sugar remains an inseparable part of our daily lives, a simple pleasure that still defines comfort for millions. And speaking of comfort, few things capture that feeling better than cream bread, soft, fluffy, and irresistibly rich. Imagine taking a bite of a freshly baked bun that feels lighter than air, filled with a silky smooth cream that melts the moment it touches your tongue. This isn't just food, it's an experience. Cream bread is crafted using enriched dough made with milk, eggs, butter, and sugar, ingredients that give it a tender, melt-in-your-mouth texture. Bakers often let the dough proof slowly to develop flavor and create that pillow-like softness. In South Korea, the craze for cream bread has reached new heights. Bakeries compete to perfect the ideal combination of airy dough and luscious filling, each one trying to outdo the other in smoothness and sweetness. These creations often go viral on Instagram and TikTok, where millions of viewers watch bakers slice into buns bursting with custard or whipped cream, oozing with pure satisfaction. But what's a good dessert without a little crunch? Enter caramelized nuts, glossy, golden, and addictive. These tiny gems are a perfect example of culinary alchemy. The process begins with nuts, often almonds, cashews, or peanuts, roasted gently to bring out their natural oils and aroma. Then comes the transformation, hot, bubbling sugar syrup poured over the nuts, coating them in a glistening caramel shell. As the sugar hardens, the nuts become sweet, crunchy, and impossible to resist. Whether sprinkled over ice cream, crushed into desserts, or simply eaten by the handful, caramelized nuts are the kind of treat that makes you close your eyes and savor every bite. Their charm lies in simplicity, just nuts and sugar, yet they capture the essence of indulgence. Now, if you've ever reached into a bag of banana chips during a road trip or movie night, you know the joy of that first crisp bite. But few realize how much care goes into turning fresh bananas into those crunchy golden slices. It all starts in the tropics, where farmers carefully tend to banana trees under warm, humid skies. The process begins with pruning, removing the dried flower remnants to improve air circulation and sunlight exposure, which helps the fruit develop evenly. To protect the growing bananas from pests and harsh weather, farmers cover the bunches with blue plastic bags. These bags help regulate temperature, maintain humidity, and reduce the need for chemical pesticides, promoting a more organic form of farming. Once the bananas reach the perfect size, thick and green but not yet ripe, farmers harvest them with precision, cutting each bunch carefully to prevent bruising. These bunches are then transported along DIY wire systems, a simple yet ingenious setup that ensures the bananas reach collection points intact. From there, the bananas make their way to massive processing facilities. Before becoming chips, they undergo a series of crucial steps to ensure only the best fruit makes it to your snack bag. Workers sort the bananas by hand, selecting those with the right size, shape, and firmness. Any damaged or overripe fruit is set aside. The selected bananas are then washed using gentle water jets, powerful enough to remove dirt, but soft enough not to damage the skin. After washing, they go through a process called pre-cooling, where they're dipped into chilled water to quickly reduce their temperature. This step is vital because it slows down ripening, helping maintain the firmness and freshness of the fruit during transport and processing. Only the firm, green bananas are approved for chip production, ensuring they can be sliced and fried to perfection. Once inside the production facility, the real transformation begins. The bananas are peeled and sliced into thin uniform rounds, typically around 3 mm thick, using industrial slicers that work with surgical precision. Consistency and thickness is crucial because it ensures that every slice fries evenly, producing that satisfying crunch we love. The slices are then carefully dropped into massive industrial fryers filled with hot oil, where they sizzle and bubble until they turn golden brown. The sound of frying, the rising steam, and the aroma filling the air create an irresistible anticipation. Conveyor belts carry the freshly fried chips out of the oil, allowing excess oil to drain away before the chips are seasoned. This is where creativity comes into play. The plain chips are tossed in drums with flavorings, anything from classic salted to tangy chili lime or sweet honey. Every region and brand has its secret spice mix, and it's often this seasoning that makes you crave one more handful. After seasoning, the chips pass through advanced packaging machines that weigh each portion precisely. These multi-head weighers ensure every bag contains the perfect amount, maintaining consistency across thousands of packets per day. Once sealed in airtight, moisture-proof bags, the chips are ready for shipment across the globe. But banana chips aren't the only product derived from this incredible fruit. The same facilities often process ripe bananas into pulp, a thick, creamy paste used in smoothies, baby food, baked goods, and ice creams. By turning ripe bananas into pulp, producers extend their shelf life and reduce food waste, giving bananas a new purpose even after their prime. Banana pulp adds natural sweetness and nutritional value, replacing the need for added sugars and artificial flavors in many products. This dual-purpose production, chips from green bananas and pulp from ripe ones, makes the banana industry both efficient and sustainable. India leads the world in banana production, growing over 30 million tons annually, thanks to its warm climate and fertile soil. Yet, the demand for banana-based snacks isn't limited to Asia. The U.S. market for dried fruit and healthy snacks has exploded in recent years as consumers seek alternatives to traditional potato chips. Banana chips, with their rich potassium content and natural fiber, have found a solid fan base among health-conscious snackers. They deliver that satisfying crunch without feeling too guilty. Though let's be honest, it's hard to stop at just one bag. Bananas are not only a delicious fruit but also a source of important nutrients. Rich in vitamin B6, they play a role in producing neurotransmitters that regulate mood, helping reduce anxiety and depression. Combined with their fiber and energy-boosting natural sugars, bananas make an ideal snack for athletes, students, and anyone looking for a quick, wholesome bite. Whether eaten fresh, turned into chips, or blended into creamy smoothies, this tropical fruit continues to nourish both body and soul. From sugar crystals gleaming in industrial centrifuges to the velvety layers of cream bread, the glossy perfection of caramelized nuts, and the golden crisp of banana chips, each step in these production processes reflects human ingenuity and passion for food. Behind every sweet, crunchy, or creamy bite is a world of craftsmanship, precision, and care, from farmers and factory workers to engineers and bakers who dedicate their expertise to making everyday indulgence possible. These foods may seem simple, but they tell a story of transformation, technology, and timeless comfort, proof that the art of food is as much about emotion as it is about science. And next time you enjoy that sweet crunch or soft, creamy bite, you'll know just how much effort and magic goes into every delicious moment.